Hello everybody and welcome back to Project Storm. I'm Storm and today we are going to be going over the most interesting, most intricate concept in TRAILMAKERS, weld groups. Now I'm going to try and cover everything, but this is going to act as an archive, this video. The more people that watch it, the more people that comment their findings, the better the information will be. It's mostly a tutorial, so if anyone has anything to add, please put it down in the comments and I will pin you or do whatever I can to make sure that you're known. And yeah, we really need to get through this because weld groups are so powerful that they can be used to make engines. It's just few people have found a way to do it. Few. Not none, few. But basically, weld groups are a part of the game that is very interesting. Weld groups are pertaining to collisions. Now, collisions and hitboxes are different, obviously. Hitboxes are what can be hit by a spawned-in vehicle. Collisions are what can be interacted with on your own vehicle. So, I will make a little platform here to show you all the weld groups. Weld groups are separated by a very simple concept, and that is the head versus the base of any mechanical block. There you go. Alright, the head and the base of any mechanical block. So let's try this first. Okay, the hinge. The simple hinge, my favorite block in the game. Oh my, things you can do with this goofy odd block. Anyways, we're gonna color code this, right? We're gonna have two blocks. One that's blue, one that's red. The red one is the base. The blue one is the head. Whenever I say base and head, this is what I mean. This right here is two weld groups in a 1x1x1 block. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about here. I haven't done extensive testing, but this is from my 7 years of experience that I have been playing this game. This is what I've gathered from my time. So if anyone has anything to add or if anyone thinks I said something wrong, please let me know. There's the base and the head. This is two weld groups. One weld group is right here. The other weld group is right here. Common way to use weld groups is making a very nice angle to a very long plane. Now, I'm going to show you some things that you can and can't do. But basically, a weld group is just the differentiation of these two sides. This is a weld group, which means all of this is the same weld group, since it's only connected by the red. But this is also a weld group, so we're going to use these to signify the blue weld group. So we're going to color it blue chrome. Anything that's black is the main frame. Anything that's blue is the weld group. What you need to understand is that the base will not move. It's static, right? Technically, it's static. The head, or the blue, is supposed to move. So let's say we get in the seat, right? Immediately, what do we have? We have weld group phasing. Weld group phasing is basically the effect that happens whenever a block can phase directly toward or inside another block. This is a great mechanic. It allows for a lot of really nice angles. It allows for weapons, engines, a lot of things that are very advanced. But you can do stuff like this. Pretty angle, right? Let's say this was right here and you needed to put this right here. Okay. Let's say this was a plane, right? And you needed to make it look pretty or something. I don't know. Let's make a nice little nose cone or something. Let's say this is just the fuselage. Look at that. Nice and sleek, right? Well, very interesting thing is that there are weld groups in the groups. So, a weld group is not just this. This is just called phasing, or weld group collision, or phasing. A weld group is actually determined by these little block types. Now, there are certain ones that go together, and there are certain ones that don't. Okay, I'm going to tell you each one that goes together. Structure. All of structure goes with all of streamlining. That goes with all of the, hear me, the static flight. So things like short helicopter blades, small tail fins, simple tail fins, all of the powered tail fins, all of the wings, and all of the thrusters and engines. Thrusters and engines correlate directly toward frame. Combat is the same thing. Goes with frame, structure, streamlining, flight, all of that. You can phase weapons into weapons. A very popular and common thing to save space that a lot of people do. Gadgets. All of these, except for the pop-up car light, and that's about it, can phase into structure, streamlining, seats as well, lights, anything that's not mechanical, marine, combat, gadgets. Decoration will never have collisions, I don't think. Now let's get to the ones that don't correlate. Oh man. All of these: rotating servo, quantum rudders, racing hinge, large hinge, steering hinge. Let's see if you can find a correlation between any of these. All of the traction blocks except for anchor pins and hover pads and skis and friction pads. All of the mechanical blocks except for pistons and detachable blocks. Can you see a correlation yet? All of the elevators, the control surfaces, all of the lift surfaces that have control surfaces, helicopter engines, spinning servos. For marine, the retro stabilizer and the large stabilizer, and the sails. The sails are interesting, I'll tell you about that later. And then the aiming servo and the pop-up car light. Now, out of all of those, let's see if you can figure out what the correlation is. You want to know what it is? It's that they all move. Every single one moves. Let's start with the traction, the wheels, right? We're gonna do this. If this phases through, I'm gonna actually cry because I just went through all that. It phases through. Okay, interesting. So maybe slim wheels are fine, maybe wheels are fine. But is it mechanical on wheels? Yeah, there we go. Mechanical on wheels. Okay. There are different interactions. So, for traction, let's say if you do a wheel to a wheel, it will never not phase through, right? Yeah, you can just phase them right through, no matter what. But if you do any of these groups against each other, so let's say wheel against the servo. Yes. Let's say you do a wheel against the servo, it will not correlate. It will get pretty cooked pretty fast. And it also depends on which one is on the base or on the head. As you can very clearly see, it's catching, right? Okay, bro. Okay, bro. Okay, bro. So, if it starts catching like that, what do you gotta do? And then sometimes it'll just completely get stuck, right? Now, this is interesting. It causes weird things, right? It causes things like movement in weird ways. Like how I'm moving backwards at 1 mile per hour. That's weird, right? Well, this is how to test if your build has collisions. I'm just gonna tell you this now, and then I'll get into the fun stuff, which are the advanced concepts. Basically, if you wanna get into the water and test if your build has corrosions, if it's not completely obvious already, you can do something like this. Just keep on moving, take a dip in the water, and then see the sparks. Those beautiful sparks. And if you start moving sporadically in the water, then you have something even worse. Now, these sparks that will fly look like that. Now, this is just one of the types you can see. There is another one that is very scary. I don't have anything that generates it anymore, but blue sparks are very interesting. They're scary. Okay, now we have the retro stabilizer on retro stabilizer. Let's see if it works. No, it does not. See? All right. So this one I'm going to explain now. It's actually not phasing through the space thruster. I wonder why. So the steering hinge already creates a whole nother weld group, right? That's the blue. Now, this is actually interesting. You see what's happening here? Do you see what's happening here? Another weld group was just created. Now, I don't know exactly why this causes a collision. Oh, but it does. If this reaches this space thruster, which is on red, it's going to collide with purple. See? Right there. As you can clearly see, it's phasing through blue. So if we move this back even more, maybe like that far, let's see what happens now. It phases through blue, but blue does not phase through red. That's interesting, isn't it? So a lot of people have been trying to figure out weld groups for a really long time. Not many can find out what's going on with them. So I'm gonna take this into the ocean. We're gonna do the test. There we are. Weld group issues, as you can clearly see. Now, this is a very obvious one, but that's just a simple way to do it. Now, another example of weld group collision is this. A more interesting one. Let's see. We're gonna do this. This is spring on spring collision. Now, spring on spring collision actually is very interesting. There we go. Now we're getting some juicy collisions. All right, so you can honestly phase the same block through the same block anytime. But this one, you can tell it's a little bit harsher, isn't it? Gets stuck on, yeah, see, it's getting stuck on the red space thruster. So, mechanical to frame will not collide. Mechanical. Unless it's too big, that's another thing. Size, space that it takes up, matters a lot. This is interesting. Do you see what's going on here? As I told you, I have no idea what I'm doing, so this is practically my testing. But right now, we have a very interesting thing going on. Guess what? New weld group just created. Here we go. Purple. Purple has been created. That is causing some weird stuff to happen, right? Yeah, really weird. And now if you saw this in the ocean, and now I'm spinning, rotational force is generated. Do you know why? Not me neither. Let's figure it out. We are in the water now. Wow, we're moving fast. I did not realize they were that powerful. Okay. So as you can clearly see, this is really interesting, right? As soon as we attach different blocks to the opposing weld group, this turns purple, this stays red, and now we're gonna, nope, that's blue, sorry, confusion, stays red, and now we're gonna build this out, see what happens. Weird, right? Weird. But you see how it still can kind of get through? Yeah, let's fix that. Now we're gonna try it, and now it just won't go through. So the bigger the base, if you really want weld groups to happen, weld collisions, it will literally push you. And the bigger the base, then we'll have something interesting happen. Well, phasing will be a lot harder. You'll get a lot more weld collisions. And if it hits something, impact is also very important. If impact happens, it will do things that are very weird, like blow up. Impact will cause a lot of things to jar, and as you can see, this is a phenomenon called weld impact, I guess. I just like to call it weld impact. There's a lot of things you can do with weld groups, obviously. As you can clearly see, weld groups are very janky, they're very stupid, and they're not very well understood. So if anyone has any comments, please leave them down below. I don't know what I'm talking about. Please refer to the comments. They will tell you what I'm doing. They will explain it better than me because they have time to actually type it out. There's a lot of smarties in my comments, I know it. So the craziest thing about this is we're gonna get to the advanced concepts now. Weld impact, weld corrosion, weld control, weld engines. Now, I'm gonna give you an example of each one. Not exactly going to say what they are. There's weld engines, I'm just going to use the first initial, A. There's weld corrosion, I can give you an example of that one, but weld corrosion is, remember when I first made the stealth drive? If any of you remember that, it's great, awesome, you're real ones. I'm going to save this as a good little thing, and I'm going to post it on the workshop actually. There we go. So, let's hope that goes pretty far. If anyone can get that, it'll be cool. Anyways, we're going to show weld corrosion now. Weld corrosion also happened on my stealth drive. The stealth drive had a lot of problems. It was extremely unstable due to the fact that it was using weld groups to initiate. So if I go too fast on this thing, I'm gonna take off the speed limiter. It causes two weld group things. One is weld E, the other is weld corrosion. So I'm gonna take off the speed limiter. I'm not gonna detach the engines, and I'm going to just move, and that happens. Complete destruction of the head weld group blocks. As you can see here, I'll put it into build modes so it's easier to see and they're not spinning at Mach. Okay, right now I'm gonna color code this one only. We have glow, red, base. We have base and head, and then we have head, and then we have head. Right now, that's what happens, right? The problem with weld corrosion is I don't know. I actually don't know. If something's spinning too fast, maybe it just breaks. But it usually is an effect of weld group collision. They start to explode as well. It's very interesting how fast this can all go. I'm everywhere right now because this is such an interesting concept that I love so much. Another example of weld groups being interesting is this. You can phase things into each other with pistons, not just hinges. Pistons are linear, hinges are rotational, obviously. There's weld weapons. You can make weapons out of weld groups, so like that bomb, I call it the black hole bomb. You can make weapons out of weld groups in other ways, like the sword that I made, the dark blade. Go watch that video if you want. You can make so many things, including control surfaces. If you can control the rotational force of the weld groups, that can make you spin in the air without any control surfaces that are very hard to destroy. Something that's very unreliable, but doable. And then you have A. A is a drive that was created by High Orbit. I know you guys don't know what that is, but it was created by High Orbit, a secret organization. Well, not secret anymore. An organization that focuses on technology advancement, high-tech stuff. They created a drive called A. It's a weld group based rotational drive. Pretty cool. And that has created a flood of creations that are so impressive I can't even put them into words. On your journey with weld groups, this is the first tutorial because I did not explain that right. I'm gonna have someone on as a guest. Please poop on me in the comments. I need it. You guys need to explain that I am wrong and tell people what you have found, because I can't explain it well. I am just the mediator for all of this. Weld groups are interesting. Weld groups are stupid. They can provide so many things that are so cool. Like this, landing gear. Weld group phasing, right there. They can just go right into my wings and my nose. And I have a little plane. Please share everything that you've learned. And I will be right here to pin you, to do whatever I need to make sure you're heard. Remember, we're all trail makers, so keep on creating. Peace. Ring of fire! Woo! Peace. Nice land.